Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing well. I'm getting ready to do your forecast for June 1st through the 11th. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I really haven't been in the mood to do anything the last couple of days. And if you followed my forecast for the lunar eclipse a couple of, a week and a half ago, um, even myself, I am prone to the stars as well. Just because I come on here and read you the forecast doesn't mean I'm not subjected to them as well. I am human. So, with that being said, I kind of knew a month ago when I was preparing your forecast what was coming for me. And I said nothing. But yeah, I had to put a beloved pet down over the weekend. So, it was a Memorial Day weekend like no other. Anyway, that's why I'm a little late. Just haven't had the energy or the motivation to do this. But I'm back. I'm good. I'm okay. I'm getting through it. So today is June 2nd, and Venus has entered Cancer. So anytime you have Cancer, which rules security, home, and family, in the goddess of love, which is Venus, this is a very beautiful position for this placement. There will be a lot of compassion, kindness, and sympathy amongst many people. Not all humans, but some humans. This energy also rules the real estate world. This rules hospitality and restaurants. So, if you are thinking of purchasing a home, I would wait until June 10th when the moon is new in Gemini, and we also have a beautiful solar eclipse. But this Venus in Cancer energy is great. Next 4 or 5 weeks is going to be perfect for anything around revolving around home, family, remodeling, buying, selling a home, real estate, and anything in the restaurant and hospitality business. Now, I will say souls born with this placement, this is probably one of the most, anybody who has this placement is a very compassionate individual. Um, they offer excellent care to souls in need, and they are a solid foundation of support in times of trouble. So, this is a great placement. This placement can be clingy and have strong relationships with family, but all in all, this is an incredibly beautiful placement. If a lot of people who are nurses have this placement, this is a very nurse-like placement or a caregiver. They give of themselves effortlessly, but because we're dealing with a water energy, which is Cancer, they may take on some of that residue. So one thing about this placement is you must learn to, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Decompress. That's the word. You need to decompress. All right, moving on. There's not a whole lot going on for the next 11 days, except the big finale at the end of these 10 days, which is the solar eclipse in Gemini. And I'll do a whole nother broadcast on that as I'm working on that forecast now. But I will give caution to the days of June 6th, 7th, and 8th. Now, this energy isn't per se a platonic energy, but it is a wanting phase in Taurus. So, with us having this eclipse and the eclipse energy, and this is eclipse season, we've just had the lunar eclipse, that energy is still going on. We're getting ready to step into a solar energy, and this is where finances and even financial investments might give you like troubles, give you headaches. Um, this is where there'll be some headlines. Hey, sweet butterfly girl, how are you, hon? This is where this energy might have some conflicting issues with our investments. Not for everybody, but for some. This might bring up the stock market. Um, Even like I said, even though this is a moon phase in Taurus, it takes on its polar opposite, which is Scorpio. So there might be some scorpionic touches to this, meaning death and drama of some sort, which there's always death and drama, but that might be more intensified now. If you are into doing magical work, this isn't a time for any spells to bring you in anything, like any money, but you can do spell work. For example, on June 6th, 7th, and 8th, you can do spell work. Um, how do I put this? To get better control of your finances. So you can do some sort of spell work in order to get better control of your finances, get out of debt, things like that. But trying to bring money right to you right now won't be blessed until after June 10th. Oh my God, I'm so over this retrograde energy, and it really is just getting started. Um, yeah, I feel you, sweet butterfly girl. Uh, I'm waiting for June 10th. And even though we're still going to be in retrograde energy, um, having a solar eclipse just kind of gives it a little uh, layer of positiveness, I should say. So yeah, for those of you out there that are not familiar with Mercury retrograde, we're in it, and we're in it till about June 22nd, I believe. Um, Let me double check that right now. Yep, June 22nd. Now remember, I do practice ancient astrology. So even though it says June 22nd, I would say Mercury is going to stay somewhat retrograde until about the end of June, June 30th. You'll still see Gemini. Gemini energy has always irritated me, but retrograde makes me want to jump off a building. Well, that this makes perfect sense, and here's why. I mean, first of all, we have Mercury in retrograde, and Gemini's ruling planet is Mercury. So this does make, especially people with a strong Mercury energy, uh, it can make them, what's the word I'm looking for? A three-ring circus. If that makes any sense. They got three things going at once, and it's a lot of confusion and chaos. Um, And Mercury is in Gemini right now. So that's adding to it because it's making the communication more confusing, more muddled, more this, more that. Um, it's making people not communicate with each other. There's a lot of misunderstandings, and that's creating arguments and conflict. And it's funny, I'm on TikTok, and I probably spend more time on TikTok than I do here. In fact, I have more followers now on TikTok than I do on YouTube. So I seem to put more of my energy into that. So if you want, I post certain things like I'll post days of caution in there. I will post when Mercury's going retrograde and the do's and don'ts and how not to fear monger, because there is some fear mongering that goes on with a Mercury retrograde. I notice a lot of modern astrologers um, emphasize more than ancient astrologers. That doesn't mean not to be careful and cautious, especially in a wanting phase. This is the simple rule here. Follow the universal laws and you will be fine. Now, Mercury retrogrades seem to get even worse when the moon goes from full to dark and to new. You notice more chain reaction accidents, you notice more miscommunications and people not getting their mail, people not getting a phone call on time, and all this other stuff that has to do with communication, car problems, um, things like that will happen in a Mercury retrograde. That's not to say you can't live life, though. I always tell people, I heard someone say to me one day, and I think this is why I said it the other day on TikTok. Oh my God, never buy a house in a Mercury retrograde. Never sign contracts in a Mercury retrograde. Never travel in a Mercury retrograde. Well, part of that is true. Okay. I would not travel in a Mercury retrograde in these stars right now because we are on a wanting phase. But come June 10th, yes, I would probably think about traveling. I will prepare myself for delays because there may be some travel delays when we travel in a Mercury retrograde. Um, Another thing was, oh my God, don't buy a home in a Mercury retrograde. Well, that's not true either. You just don't buy it in a Mercury retrograde in a wanting moon phase. You buy it when the moon goes new. I mean, that is just general universal law and rule of thumb, whether you're in a retrograde or not. Life can't stop because we're in a retrograde. Yes, the energies at hand are telling us to slow down, regroup, reevaluate, replan, reassess, reassemble, and make your move, plan of action when the moon goes new. Oh my God, see, I just want to read what's in here. My retrograde energy. Myself. Oh, sweet butterfly girl, I'm sorry, hon. Um, my car is messed up too. And if memory serves me correctly, you are Sagittarius, so you're still feeling this energy from this eclipse as well. Um, I told a lot of my readers that this eclipse energy is going to be intense. Number one, because we have the North Node energy, the dragon tail sitting there. Um, it was a super moon. It was a full moon. It had so many energies that went along with it, that people that were born under this sun sign had a rising in this, a moon in this, um, a dragon head or tail got hit hard with it. Hard. I know I did. I got hit hard. Remember, Sagittarius rules the animal kingdom. It rules our pets. And anytime we have an eclipse, it's really about death and rebirth. And I put an animal down. That's the death part. Now we're all trying to rebirth from it. Um, it's intense. It's insane. Yes, it is so intense. That's the exact word. It's an intense energy, and if it's those ones that have those astrological placements that are really feeling it. All the Sagittarians and all those other placements, um, like I just said, are really taking the brunt of this. But I do want to say this because there's something positive coming, and that is this beautiful new solar eclipse, new moon in Gemini. And make the most of this Gemini energy, use it to your advantage. And so, for example, if you are a Sagittarius born in the month of December, this would be when this eclipse happens, this is the time to make plans, sign contracts. I know there are modern astrologers that say, oh, don't sign any contracts in a Mercury retrograde. Well, that's not entirely true. You can when the moon is waxing. Perfectly fine. Um, this is a time for new partnerships, whether romantic or business. So, for Sagittarians, and I'm going to explain that more in my next broadcast. Well, honey, it's coming, but it's positive. It's going to be a positive energy. No more Gemini energy. I know it is going to be positive for a lot of people. Okay, so um, you got to think positive on this, especially those of you that um, have a lot of Gemini energy in them. They'll feel the solar eclipse energy even more. Um, I have a hidden dragon in Gemini, and it's in my sixth house. So this is why I'm probably prone to doing radio and broadcasting. Gemini is the communicator, the messenger of the gods. I do really well doing radio and broadcasting, probably more than YouTube or any of the other stuff. And this placement also makes for people who can write a lot. Like this broadcast, I had no energy to write this up, so you will not find it on my website. I just was not in the mood to type it up. I wrote it down, and I'm bringing it to you now. So you won't find this forecast on my website. So I'm still running some specials, though. I decided to extend them, and for those of you who have purchased readings, I had to take a couple of days off. From about Saturday to today, I've been completely out of commission. And trust me, you don't want me to do your reading when my mental state was like this. But I'm doing better. I got out and I went and got some exercise this morning, and I did some yoga, and I did some meditation, and I'm slowly but surely getting out of my depressing funk. What can I do to not feel like such a mess during this time? Okay, so physically, I would say get outside if you can. And if it's like where I live, where it's hotter than hell and it's impossible to get outside from 10 to 6 in the daytime, try and get yourself a nice walk in, or get out into wide open spaces where you feel the freedom and air. Get somewhere where there's like wind blowing on you. I don't know. For me, maybe this is just my stars. People freak out when they see wind. I get excited when I see wind. It's like, oh wow, what the energy. That's one recommendation. Um, I don't know if you like water or into swimming, but you might want some people. This is a fallacy too, and I want to clear this up. Someone said this. I heard this on TikTok, and I'm just like, oh my god. There's a lot of bullshit on TikTok, but there is also some good stuff you'll find. Someone said this the other day. Oh, people that are fire signs or earth signs or uh, air signs aren't going to be able to rejuvenate or reconnect using water. That is simply not true, because just because, as I explain it to my clients, we are all aspects of the zodiac. And I don't even think your sun is the strongest part of your aspect of your chart. You know, yes, your sun is your outward appearance, your outwardness, but it's not the whole entire complexity of your chart. So if you are, for example, if you're born in, December, your second house becomes Capricorn, and your third house becomes Aquarius, and your fourth house, the house of home and family, becomes Pisces, where every aspect of that chart. I tried to get a bike the other day, but oh God. Okay. Sweet Butterfly Girl, have you ever tried, instead of brand new, maybe used, refurbished? You've just sparked something here that makes complete sense. So if you're going to go and purchase a bike, that's a form of transportation. You're going to want to maybe wait till the new moon on June 10th to try again on June 10th to purchase the new. But you might want to try used or refurbished, and even some bike stores sell refurbished. Just a thought, Um, but I don't know if you're into water, Sweet Butterfly Girl, but maybe doing something like that, getting into water. Hiking is perfect. See, I like to hike too. I really enjoy it. It's just, I put on my earbuds and I put on my favorite music and I just go. But contrary to what some people say, that is not true that other signs can't rejuvenate with water. For example, just because you may be, let's use Sagittarius as the example. Just because you're a Sagittarius, you may have a stellium of 3 or more planets of a water sign in one of your houses. That means you are very connected to water. Even in the realm of love, why does a Leo fall in love with a Pisces? When you hear modern astrologers say, oh my God, water and fire never mix, that's not the complexity of love. The complexity of love has to do with your moon, your Venus, and even your dragon head. In my method of astrology, I've noticed this pattern. I'm not a huge water person. I prefer desert or forest. Well, you'd be in heaven here because that's what we are. We are our desert, and that makes sense. Um, if you have a moon in Sagittarius, a sun in Sagittarius, a dragon head or tail, you're going to prefer the desert and wide open spaces. And that may be why I subconsciously moved here. I like wide open spaces. I don't like to feel confined. And as much as, my family being from New York City and Brooklyn, as much as I love to go and visit there, Jesus Christ, sometimes I'm in those crowds and it's like, holy shit, I'm having a panic attack with all these freaking people around. I freak out. I need wide open spaces. So, sweet butterfly girl, I get it. Okay, and in water, my daughter's a Leo, and she's not a water person. Okay, um, it doesn't mean she doesn't like to go in the pool, but she's got germ issues, and she's, this whole COVID thing has made her nuts. And I don't want to go in the pool. There's dirty people in there. It's like, oh my god. She's not a water person either. So, um, it just depends. But some signs are an exception to the rule. But I just notice with certain placements, um, just because you're a Pisces doesn't mean you're going to like the water. Generally speaking, you should, but I like that's yeah, I like to feel lost. I don't want anyone to find me. I like that. I get it. No, I get it. I kind of, when I go hiking here in Arizona, I kind of feel a little annoyed when there's other people on the trail. Um, just it's just something in my head. I don't own the trail, so I have no control over it. But it's like, damn it, I just wanted the whole place to myself. Okay, I do too. That's what I'm saying, sweet butterfly girl. Just because they're a water sign doesn't mean they're gonna like the water. Yeah. Um, so it's just, I think it's just this misconception that modern astrology, I notice it more in modern astrology than I do in ancient. And I follow quite a few ancient astrologers on YouTube. I don't just, I don't follow any modern astrologers, but I follow one astrologer that's Vedic, and I follow another astrologer that does Babylonian, which is one of the most ancient methods of astrology. I've actually thought about taking courses in it, but I stopped because the person that was teaching it, I had a bad vibe about, and I got to go with my gut feeling. I agree with that. Okay, I'm going to use myself as the perfect example. I'm Capricorn. Okay, and on the spectrum of Capricorn, most Capricorns are either complete atheists or they're completely religious. Then they also say that they have no emotion. They're the most cold, calculated, heartless sign in the zodiac. It's all about structure, it's all about control and manipulation. And to a certain extent, yes, that is Capricorn. They're the masters of manipulation. That's why the Christians chose the devil, and the goat head is the sign of evil. But I'm nothing like my Capricorn counterparts, really. I mean, I said that I mean, I definitely use that metaphysical tale, the ancient fish tale that was once part of the ancient zodiac. It's not a conspiracy. That, if you look into archaeology, Capricorn, when you find ancient artifacts of astrology wheels, Capricorn had the fishtail, and it's even on Nostradamus's tarot deck. So I do. This is exactly why I decided to study ancient astrology. I was just floored when I started studying it on how more accurate it was than modern. Modern forgets a lot of the essence of it, and that's what ancient astrology brings back. And I don't care whether it's my method, which is on the border of Chinese astrology, and it's divine, but Nostradamus used a couple of different modalities to create this method. Um, Chinese astrology being one of them. Um, but modern astrology dismisses a lot of important things that ancient, like, for example, Vedic. I call you, when you hear me talk about the dragon head and tail, I'm referring to the north and south nodes of the moon. In Vedic astrology, they're talking about Ketu and Ratu, the north and the south energies. Okay, and even in Babylonian astrology, I've heard them call the north and south nodes dragon energy. So it really does make sense. And you got to thank the Sumerians. I mean, because the Sumerians taught the Babylonians, and then the Babylonians taught the Romans and the Greeks. Um, and the Sumerian method is even the most ancient. Um, I don't know how old the Vedic is, and I don't know how old Chinese is, but it's right on in there with all the ancient methods. Draconian astrology is also another ancient method that's not really talked about. Um, and I do believe Nostradamus was using some of that modality as well. Do you? The real sign of evil is Virgo. I'm sorry, I laugh. Um, picky, 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 fussy, 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 critical, critical, critical. Kind of have a pickle up their ass sometimes. Not all. And I mean, no offense to my Virgos. Virgos do get the job done, but I know what you mean. Sweet butterfly girl, I totally get it. That's hilarious. I appreciate. I needed a good laugh. I totally get it, though. No, Virgos are that is Virgo. I have a dragon's tail in Virgo, and there I notice that people have a tail in that sign, whether it's hidden or natal. They don't get along very well with that sign. Now, the funny thing is, I have a rising in Virgo, but I have a dragon's tail in Virgo too, and um, I think when you get to a certain age in life, and this being a total Capricorn, Capricorns are like Virgos when they're younger. They have like a pickle up their ass. And as they hit a certain age, they get younger, not necessarily in appearance, but the mentality. I don't sweat the small stuff like I used to. And I noticed that people with a dragon's tail seem to have issues with certain signs. They get under their skin. I have a friend who has a hidden dragon in Leo, and she just does not get along with Leos. Okay, it's just one of those things. You're not offending Virgos. That they can be. Yes, it's they're. I wouldn't say they're controlling per se, but sometimes they can be so critical. And I've told my Virgos this before. Um, Nobody's perfect, not even you. We're all human. We all fuck up and make mistakes, and so do you, Virgo. That's just a fact. You know. Now, what are some good books to study on astrology? Well, there's a couple of books I have. Now, if you want to know more about the dragon energy, there's only one guy and there's only one book that will explain that. And um, it's called The Power of the Dragon. I'm going to write it, I'm going to type it in. I didn't go live showing my face today because I think I've been crying for about 3 days straight. And I look awful. So you guys don't, I want to spare you guys, but it's called Power of the Dragon. I'm going to type it in here by Dr. Lewis Torrey. Now, this is one of the books when I was studying to become certified in this method, I purchased the class and everything, the education for it, and I got like 4 books that go with the program. But you can buy these separately. Just type in Power of the Dragon by Dr. Lewis Torrey. Um, I'm trying to figure out what his YouTube page is, but I don't know it. Just type here. I'm going to hit enter on that. There it is. Power of the Dragon by Dr. Lewis Torrey. That's one of them. Then there is an oldie but goodie book. Hold on. I got to go get it. It's like 5 arm reaches away. Okay. This book is called, this is an old book. It was made in the 70s. However, the information in it is powerful. And this is called the Astrologer's Handbook. Um, Next time I go live, I'll show these books because I um, don't have the regular screen up. But the Astrologer's Handbook by Francis Soikian and Louis S. Acker. Um, it's an excellent book because here's the thing I've noticed with ancient astrology, and modern astrology does this too, but ancient astrology is more of, it taps deeper into your what's the word I'm looking for? Psyche. Taps into your psyche more. Hey, Kapui, how are you? I'm glad you're here, hon. I hope you're doing well. But what's neat about this old book, The Astrologer's Handbook, is you just type that into Amazon and you'll find it. It talks about like Neptune conjuncting the South Node. So, for example, those of you have gotten readings from me have looked at the second part of your chart, planets and aspect, and I give you more of a psychological analysis. My software is creating that analysis. But you'll look and, for example, you'll go and see like Neptune conjuncting your South Node. This book will give you answers to it on the psychology of it, which is what I love. The psychology of it. Let's see. I'm trying to read, Sweet Butterfly Girl, what you put. I think Capricorns are more focused on doing well for. That's it exactly. They are focused on doing well for themselves. That's why I say I'm the exception to the rule, being a Capricorn, because I guess maybe because I'm an occultist, I'm a witch, I'm a metaphysic, I'm an astrophil. I know the power of karma, and Capricorn is one of the most karmic signs in the zodiac. So if Capricorn does good, and I mean by that doesn't mean we don't, it's perfect. We want to make money. It's perfectly normal to want to be successful and succeed in life. But Capricorn, in its negative, will walk all over you to get where they have to be, to that top of that mountain, even if they had to rip you off in the long run. That's the negative side of Capricorn. And yes, it is about money, 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 money. I'm a little different. I'm not that kind of Capricorn. Maybe it's because my dragon's head's in Pisces, which is a very spiritual um, placement. It's about astral projection. It's about seeing things in a different eye. So that's why I said I'm an exception to the rule. I'm very different from most of my Capricorn counterparts. It's like sometimes when I'm surrounded by other Capricorns, I feel like a stranger in a strange land. Like I'm the oddball out, like I'm the black sheep. I just don't vibrate with some of them. Um, and I'm a Capricorn too. So, but yes, Sweet Butterfly Girl, you're absolutely right. It's about them. It's about money, and money doesn't buy you happiness. I mean, it helps. Trust me, it helps, but it don't buy you happiness. Very hardworking, very giving, but they have this unmatched sense of morality. They're the snobs of the zodiac. They're the mental snobs of the zodiac. Um, do you know when I tell other Capricorns that I'm a heavy metal DJ on Saturday afternoons, they kind of look at me with disgust? And Capricorn rules classical music. It's snotty and snobby. And I sit there and go, yeah, well, I have a Sagittarian moon. That's my wild side. Not every Capricorn's the same, but I get what you're saying about Capricorns. Oh, Sweet Butterfly Girl, thank you so much. Some of those predictions I wish to God I was freaking wrong about. I just sat there the other day when last platonic energy we were in, and I'm going, Jesus, shooting in Jersey, a shooting in California. I mean, that shooting in San Jose, that I used to live like 45 minutes away from there. And I just sat there going, and I know people in that town, and I'm just going, oh, please, please, please don't let it be somebody I know. No, sweet butterfly girl, you didn't. No, let's see. Sorry, I meant Capricorners. Focus on. You know what? You're absolutely right. Here's the problem with Virgo, and I don't mean any disrespect to Virgos. I love a lot of my Virgos. Virgo seems to focus on the finer details. Sometimes they focus on just the tree and they miss the entire forest because they're so focused on one thing. And it's great to have people focused on attention to detail. I mean, shit, I would want a dentist that has attention to detail and a surgeon that has attention to detail. But um, sometimes it can be a little too much. And I get where you're coming. I know exactly what you mean. Um, I totally get it. The other book I wanted to inform you about, I can't say for sure if it's good or not. Now I'm gonna throw this out there. I have to go find it. I ordered it. Someone on TikTok was talking about it, and they said if you're an occultist and you're an alchemist and you're into cryptocurrency, you've got to get this book. It really correlates. The crypto world is correlating with um, ancient metaphysics. So I went and I got this book called, hold on, I wrote it down somewhere here. It's a Hermetic book. Oh, jeez, where is it? Hold on. I'm going to find it for you guys before I get off air. Because I think you might like to order it someday. What's it called? What's it called? The other book I wanted to order, but it was not available at this time, is called Prana Healing Through Crystals. And it's really important to get into. I always tell witches this, you can't heal if you can't hex if you can't heal, and you can't heal if you can't hex. Hexing is the easiest thing to do. Okay, healing someone takes so much more energy. So tapping into the prana energy, which it was written by some Chinese man, um, very educated. If you give me a second here, I'm logging into my daughter's account. Orders. The Hermetic, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna copy and paste this because I can't pronounce it. Here it is. There it is. It's an Amazon book um, called the Hermetic. Hold on, let's see. Triptycha, the Mercury elemental year with ephemerises from 1925 to 2020. So this is really talking about, now that I said I've read it, but this is talking about Mercury retrogrades especially. So if you want to educate yourself more on Mercury retrogrades, I bought this book because I've never read it, and I want to educate myself on Mercury retrogrades. I the kind of person, I'm not going to ever sit here and say I know everything there is to know about everything. Never. I'm still learning. I still take classes. I'm taking classes right now from an occultist named Bulkhead Mon. I've talked about him before. And I'm taking classes on not just Egyptian history, but Egyptian magic. I only say that because ever since I was a kid, I have been drawn to that energy. Egyptian. My first tattoo is Isis. Now, it's funny because I see other witches here on TikTok fight and tell people, oh, you can't practice that. That's a closed practice. Well, there are some things that are closed. Okay. But Egyptian is not one of them. Okay. Egyptian magic is not a closed practice. Okay. Um, and I really do feel I have lived that life before. You know, I don't know. There's a strong extraterrestrial connection to Egypt, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But yeah, you want to check out that book, Hermetica Triptycha. Triptychia? I can't even pronounce that, God. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. You can also check out Bulkhead Mon. I'll write him down here. Type his name in and you'll see what you get. You can go to occultcourses.com. I've taken classes. He helped me when I was trying to remember a lot of my dreams, and I took a class called Lucid Dreams, and he was teaching me how to meditate better, and it really helped. The man is amazing. I mean, you're not just learning magic. When you learn from him, you are getting a history lesson at a university level. And I mean that because speaks like 4 different languages. He's a scholar of ancient artifacts and ancient, um, I don't know what it is. He has some sort of a degree in ancient history. So he's an historian. He's incredibly, he's amazing. I believe he is part Jewish and part Nigerian, if memory serves me correctly. I could be wrong. I do know he was raised Jewish or in a Jewish household. He speaks 4 or 5 different languages, but I mean, he's a pillar of knowledge, and he's an occultist, you know. And I've learned a lot from him. I learned a lot about Lilith from him. He writes books on some of the demons. Has a book on Melchizedek, and if you know anything about Melchizedek was the archangel or prophet. I don't think he was an archangel, a prophet that taught Enoch his metaphysical wisdom and knowledge. So I think Melchizedek is in the book of Genesis. Um, I think he's mentioned there. But yes, you're very welcome. And I thank you guys for joining me. I'm really sorry I didn't get to this yesterday. But like I said, my mental state was just not there. And I'm doing better. And as every day goes by, it's a new day. And my beloved animal is not suffering anymore. He's crossed the rainbow bridge. And it is what it is. So for those of you out there who are listening and I have OU readings, I will get to them. I'm about a week behind, so please have some patience with me and I will get to them, I promise. Sweet Butterfly Girl, thanks for tuning in. And Kapui, thanks for tuning in, hon. I hope you're doing well. I'm sure there was no one else in here I missed. Nope. All right. All right, you guys. Have a good one. And I will come back on here in a few days and try and do some cards for everybody. Like I said, I don't like to do any of those things when I'm not resonating on a high vibration. It serves you guys no good when I'm down and out. But anyway, be safe out there. Enjoy. And remember, Mercury retrograde, it's about reiterating, rereading, recommunicating. Okay? Remember those 3 things and you'll get through it just fine. You guys have a great evening. Ciao.